Hi, I'm Jamarion Green, and this is my final project submission. Today, I pretty much I guess the topic I wanted to talk about was like the hidden cost of hosting mega sporting events, like the hidden cost behind that, and like these not so big but big cities. Like, everyone loves watching the Olympics and things like that. Like, it's super exciting, the competition, the high sweepstakes, country versus country, things of that nature. But no one really thinks about what happens after, or like what happens to the people that live there, like the rural people that live there during the event. Like, of course, like hosting the Olympics for your city is like a huge opportunity. It expects more tourism, a lot of money, revenue rolling in, global like attention and things like that. But like in short term, that can be true, but in long term, obviously the effects can be different. Like cities often spend like billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. Well, probably not that many billions, but like that many millions roll around to billions, like building these stadiums, providing like the transportation systems, like, recruiting all these buses and trains and extra cars and having to block off the roads for like, different travel, expecting like the large crowd and like housing. So, like after the event, many of these stadiums are barely used. Like they'll recruit like 3 to 4 stadiums for one, big Olympic event, and then it's just like they're not used that more. Some get abandoned. They're building up like the temporary ones, so it's just like it's taking over a lot of ground and land. Then when the Olympics are over, it's just like gone, and that puts like a lot of cities in like maintenance debt, um, cleanup debt, you know, infrastructure debt, all things like that. And it's also like a social impact too. And like in most cases, a lot of communities are forced to be spaced out and made like a lot of space so there can be a lot of construction because people, like I said, people need to build more hotels, more Airbnbs, more places for like foods and just like extra venue space. So it's obviously like a lot of construction. That means people can lose their homes. A lot of neighborhoods gets torn down. A lot of like forest areas get it like knocked out of the way because they want to put buildings and things like that there too. Just trying to make room for like a temporary event when it's like, is that really needed for like the long term of like the upkeep of the city? And tourism also is like a big factor. Like, while of course there's usually like a huge spike during this event, it typically doesn't always last. Like places like LA, you know, things like that. Like, okay, that'll always be big and like tourists and things like that. But like when we talk about just like maybe not the whole Summer Olympics, but like just places for like big game events, and then you go to maybe, I don't know, they host something in Minnesota or something. Like it's typically not gonna be that busy afterwards. So it's like once the events end, the city might struggle to keep the same level of visitors. So that means like a lot of the business they got upstarted, they probably can't keep that up. A lot of the enterprises that was like making money from like rentals and just renting places to stay probably can't make that much money back because once people are gone, they're gone. So like overall for me, this shows that like sports are more than just games. Like they're deeply connected to the economics of each city, the politics, and the society. So like as athletes and fans, it's important that you look beyond, the excitement factor of all like these big game, what did I just say? Big game events, because like you can like because although it's fun to watch and like people like with betting and it's just like it's exciting, I get it, but then we have to look on the flip side and look like beneath all that and look like who it's actually benefit and who it's actually impacting and affecting. So next time you ask yourself, you're sitting here watching the Olympics or something big, really big event, just ask yourself like, is it really worth it for the city to host it? And like what is the true like long-term effects for like the social and the political side of things. But that's just my think piece. I also made this for my audience of like freshman athletes, young athletes coming up who typically watch like the big event, Olympics and big game events and stuff too. So yeah.